Think about it. Every single day, thousands of massive ships are navigating our crowded coastlines and ports. So, what keeps this complex, high-stakes dance from turning into total chaos? Well, it's a system called Vessel Traffic Services, or VTS. You can think of it as the unseen air traffic control for the seas, and its one job is to keep everyone safe, around the clock. And if you could peek inside a VTS center, wow, it is pure high-tech. You've got walls of screens showing radar, complex weather data, vessel positions. Honestly, it feels like a mission control room. Every single blip on that screen is a real vessel, and every decision made in that room has serious consequences. So, looking at a room packed with all this cutting-edge technology, you might think the most important piece of the puzzle is the radar, right? Or maybe the advanced software, or the communication systems. What do you think is the single most critical component in there? Nope, it's the people, the skilled operators who have to interpret all that data, who talk with the captains, and who make those split-second judgments. They are the human heart at the center of the machine. So in this explainer, we are going to pull back the curtain on the human factors that actually make VTS work. We'll look at the team dynamics, the very unique skills these operators need, the protocols that lead to success, and how on earth they manage the constant pressure. All right, let's dive right in. First up, let's talk about the team itself. A VTS center is basically a human command center. And inside, effective leadership and, get this, something called followership have to work together in perfect harmony. You see, strong leadership here isn't just about barking orders. It's about having vision. It's the ability to look at a screen just packed with moving targets and somehow anticipate what's going to be happening hours from now, planning ahead and setting clear goals to keep everything moving safely. But of course, a leader is only as good as their team. And great followership isn't about being passive and just waiting for instructions. It's all about proactive support, having team members who take initiative, who can see what needs to be done, and who are already thinking about the next step before they're even asked. And this is a perfect illustration. Picture this. An operator spots a tricky situation developing. Maybe it's a huge container ship, a ferry on a tight schedule, and a small fishing boat, all converging in low visibility. Proactive followership means they don't just flag the problem. They actually start developing a solution. A slight speed reduction for one ship, a tiny course correction for another, and they present that plan to their supervisor before it ever escalates into a crisis. All right, so we've got the team dynamic down. Now let's zoom in on the individual operator. Because the maritime world is always in flux, probably the most vital personal trait anyone in that chair can have is adaptability. And this flexibility really shows up in two key ways. First, there's role flexibility. That's, when an operator has to seamlessly jump into a different position to cover for a team member during a really intense situation. Then you've got scheduling flexibility, just being ready to adjust your shifts and your hours whenever an incident demands it. But maybe the most crucial form of adaptability is procedural. Look, the operations manual has a plan for a totally normal day. But what happens when a sudden storm forces 3 gigantic cargo ships to seek shelter in your port, all at once, totally off schedule? There is no page in the rulebook for that. Operators need the judgment to know when to bend the standard procedures, to choreograph a new plan on the fly, all while ensuring safety in a situation no one could have predicted. And here is a powerful, real-world example of that in action. When a search and rescue operation kicks off and just keeps going for hours and hours, operators will extend their shifts without even being asked. They do it to make sure there's absolutely no gap in coverage, no loss of critical information. That's adaptability when human lives are on the line. Okay, so you've got these skilled individuals and these amazing teams, but they can't just wing it, right? Their incredible performance is propped up by a really robust set of systems. So let's look at the protocols that make sure everyone is always working from the exact same playbook. This whole system is built on one thing: absolute clarity. It starts with a shared language, using standardized maritime terms so that a command means the exact same thing to a captain from Panama as it does to an operator in Singapore. Then the handover between shifts has to be flawless, with detailed logs giving the new team a perfect mental picture of the situation. And every single shift kicks off with a huddle, a briefing to map out the day's challenges, so everyone is on the same page from the get-go. Now this is where it gets really fascinating. Conflict resolution in a VTS center isn't a one-size-fits-all thing. It's like a toolkit. For really complex problems like routing an oversized vessel, they use collaboration, bringing in pilots and port authorities. If two ships want the same berth at the same time, it's about compromise. But if a vessel ignores a direct command in a narrow channel, that's when the operator switches to competition, a firm, non-negotiable order for safety's sake. It's all about picking the right tool for the right moment. VTS never ever sleeps, which puts a tremendous amount of mental and physical strain on the operators. So how do you sustain that high level of human performance 24/7? Well, it all comes down to actively managing what you might call the human battery. This number says it all, 100%. 100% of VTS operations are covered by systematic risk assessment procedures. This isn't just about managing traffic as it comes, it's about proactively managing risk across the entire system. And that includes the all-important human component. And those risk assessments, they're not just paperwork filed away in a cabinet. They're active, human-led sessions where teams get together and analyze potential dangers, everything from equipment failure to human error. And they create contingency plans to stop incidents before they can ever happen. Now, to keep that human battery charged, the system attacks fatigue from every angle. It starts with training operators to recognize their own personal signs of stress, but it also extends to the physical environment, and this is where something like ergonomics becomes absolutely critical. A poorly designed chair or a monitor at the wrong height aren't just minor annoyances. They are direct pathways to fatigue, which can lead to mistakes. So workstations are meticulously designed. Then you add structured breaks during intense events, and even smart lighting systems that change color and intensity to support the body's natural rhythms during a long night shift. And all of this brings us to one final big question. We've seen just how irreplaceable human leadership, adaptability, and judgment are in these roles. So, as automation and AI get smarter and smarter at processing data and spotting patterns, where does that leave these uniquely human skills? Can an algorithm ever truly replicate the calm, creative, life-saving problem-solving of an experienced operator in the middle of an unforeseen crisis at sea? That really is the question, isn't it?